Well, we often talk, don't we, about big weeks in football, and these next 8 days feels exactly that. West Brom at home, Leeds United away, Liverpool away. That's how the next week looks for David Wagner's side. A couple of really big league games, with the finale of a trip to Anfield on Sunday, the 28th of January, in the fourth round of the FA Cup, after a really good comeback actually against Bristol Rovers. And I'm sure Wagner will be excited for that, and I'm sure a lot of his players will be. It's despite the results, I'm sure if you're a professional footballer, playing at Anfield is a huge joy. So it's going to be a really fascinating week or so ahead, and it does feel as if, we've had a few of these weeks already this season where there is so much at stake. You know, if you were to pick up, in a dream world at 4 points here, 6 points here, then suddenly you're right back in the playoff picture. If you were to lose these games, well, it kind of reinforces most people's standpoint around David Wagner. The cup game feels somewhat of a free hit. I think everyone's expecting to lose, but the only real, there could be upside to it. Let's put it that way. A big thanks to Match Bingo, who have been sponsoring all of our preview videos this season. You guys seem to be loving it. It's bingo, but for football. And the great thing is, this is super low stakes, £2 a card, and even if you do lose, then 50% of the profits go to a charity of your choice. My charity of choice is East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you sign up using the link in the description, it will prompt you to support them, but you can pick whoever you like. As I say, loads of you have been enjoying it. They cover our every single championship game, so all the Norwich games are on there. I've been playing along with those each and every week, and some really decent cash prizes up for grabs. I've won a couple of times actually, so thoroughly enjoying it. Match Bingo, big thanks to them. Link down in the description. Remember, you've got to be 18 or over to play. It's been a strange couple of weeks actually for Norwich City. Unbeaten in 4, if you count those two cup games into that. The 1-1 draw against Southampton felt slightly undeserved, and the 2-1 win against Hull felt slightly undeserved. 2 games in which we had very little of the ball, had very little in terms of chances, but found a way through them. And, if those games came in isolation and we didn't have the rest of this season to look at, then you would go, oh, brilliant points, crack on. The problem is it just doesn't feel sustainable, and that's been my argument this season. That argument can get crushed if Norwich put in some really good performances and results in the next couple of games, because after West Brom and Leeds, it suddenly gets a little bit easier in the league. Coventry at home, QPR away, Cardiff at home. And I'm not saying they're easy. There's no easy game in this division, but easier. And you can see a world where if you do get through those couple of games and there's points on the horizon for the Canaries, it's also worth noting we are just 2 points at time of recording anyway off of the playoffs. So still very much up for grabs this season. There's been very little in terms of transfer news. The only bit of news is confirmed, and that's Adam Forshaw has gone to Plymouth. We signed him on a free transfer. He will go to Plymouth on a free transfer. It was one of those signings that felt quite shrewd at the time it happened. We needed someone in that position. We picked him up on a free. He played relatively well at this level, but for whatever reason, it didn't quite click. I think it was only 9 league appearances since we signed him. I think in terms of Norwich City players in the 20th century, if it's ever a pointless question, Adam Forshaw would probably be a pointless answer. A fairly forgettable spell at Norwich. It does open up a position. It does get some money off the wage bill. Ben Napper has said that he wants to lower the age profile, and I guess that's one step towards doing so. I'm still not overly confident of us signing too much in January, and to be honest, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I think there is quality in this side, and I think that it now comes down to what we can get out of them. Especially considering we've got pretty much a fully fit squad now. West Brom's an interesting one. Look, they're going pretty well. They're 5th in the table. They're 7 points above us. We, of course, played them really recently. We played them on Boxing Day. We lost 1-0. It was a strange game because we were down to 10 men after 30 minutes when Borja Science got sent off for a second bookable offence for dissent. He's obviously learnt a lot since then. if you're a neutral and you look at it, you go, well, what did you expect? You were down to 10 men for 70 minutes of that match. I think if you were watching it, you would have probably said that West Brom were the better side from the off. Having said that, to only beat a side 1-0, having been against 10 men for 70 minutes, then you could say that they weren't too clinical in front of goal. I like West Brom and I like their chances for playoffs this season. I think they're a cut above anything I've seen in terms of this chasing pack towards. You've got probably a pack of four that are a long way ahead of the rest in Leicester and Southampton and Leeds and Ipswich, and then you've got West Brom, and I think there's a lot of quality difference between them and then Coventry, Sunderland, Watford, Hull, ourselves, Borough, Preston. The list goes on. It's an incredibly tightly squeezed pack all the way kind of from 15th up until about 6th. There's only kind of 7 points difference between 15th to 6th. So many people going for essentially, it feels like one playoff spot. I like the dynamism that we showed in that second half against Bristol Rovers. I thought the first half was incredibly stodgy. As I said in my review video, kind of feels like a result to par to be a mid-table League One side 3-1. My concern from that was the fact that we're coming into this with very little, recovery. I think Wagner said that they got back from Bristol at 3 a.m. On, what would that be, a Thursday morning. They were then straight into training off the back of a couple of hours sleep. The benefit was, the likes of Sargent, Angus Gunn, etc. didn't play in that match. So your biggest stars weren't featuring. Having said that, Rowe and Sarah did play. No excuses. If Norwich want any chance of playoffs this season, we need to start winning these types of games because we've been so poor against the sides, above us in the top 6 this season. This is a game that we should be coming into with no fear. Sadly, we are because of the way that we've performed this season. But as I mentioned earlier, this feels like a really pivotal week, and it would be brilliant to start it off on the front foot. I'd go for a fairly similar side, if not the same side that started against Hull. The only concern there would be Dimi Yanulis. Apparently he's going to be touch and go. I think Sam McCallum's actually been relatively good since he's come in. So if there were to be a change, it's probably Dimi Yanulis out for Sam McCallum. If not, unchanged from that side that faced Hull. I think that's probably our strongest side now that we've got everyone back fit. Hopefully we put in a good performance. I am bored, and trust me, I am bored, and I know probably a lot of you are bored now with my constant questioning of David Wagner. I think it's important. I think people at this football club should be held to high accounts. This is a side with the 4th highest wage bill in the entire division. This is a side with parachute payments still flooding through the accounts, and we are mid-table in the Championship. In terms of spend and in terms of resource, this is simply not good enough. So let's start to see that turning round. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you at Carrow Road on Saturday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.